The vast emptiness of space was broken by a flash of light. A massive ship appeared, its hull gleaming under the stars. This was the flagship of the Galactic Council, the most powerful group in the known universe. On its bridge stood Admiral Zix, a tall alien with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like dying stars. "Is everything ready?" Zix asked, his voice cold and emotionless. "Yes, Admiral," a smaller alien replied, trembling slightly. "The planet Nexus IV is in our sights. They have no idea we're here." Zix nodded, a cruel smile on his face. "Good. Begin the attack. Leave no one alive." On the peaceful world of Nexus IV, life went on as usual. The sky was a beautiful shade of purple, and 3 moons hung low on the horizon. The Nexians, a race of gentle beings with soft blue skin, went about their day. Children played in parks, adults worked in tall buildings, and elders rested in quiet gardens. None of them knew that death was coming from above. The first blast from the Galactic Council's ship turned the largest city on Nexus IV into ash. Millions died in an instant. The survivors looked up in horror as more ships appeared in the sky. "Why?" a young Nexian cried out as he ran from the falling buildings. "We did nothing wrong." But the Galactic Council didn't care about right or wrong. They only cared about power. And the Nexians had something they wanted, a rare mineral deep in the planet's core. As the attack continued, a small group of Nexians managed to reach a hidden bunker. Among them was Lyra, a scientist who had been studying the stars. "We need to warn others," she said, her voice shaking. "The Council won't stop here. They'll destroy more worlds." An elder Nexian nodded. "But how? Our communications are down." Lyra looked at an old ship in the corner of the bunker. "We'll use that. It's old, but it can make the jump to hyperspace. We need to find someone who can help us fight back." As they prepared the ship, the sounds of destruction grew louder above. The bunker shook with each blast. "Hurry!" someone shouted. Lyra and a small crew boarded the ship. As they took off, they saw their world burning beneath them. Tears flowed freely as they made the jump to hyperspace, leaving their dying planet behind. Back on the Galactic Council's ship, Admiral Zix watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. "Any survivors?" he asked. "A small ship escaped, Admiral," an officer reported. "Should we pursue?" Zix waved a hand dismissively. "No need. Where can they go? The entire galaxy fears us. No one will stand against the Galactic Council." How wrong he was. Millions of light years away, on a blue and green planet called Earth, humans went about their lives. They argued about politics, celebrated small victories, and dreamed of the stars. They had no idea that they would soon be thrown into a war that would decide the fate of the galaxy. In a small observatory on Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen peered through a powerful telescope. She frowned, adjusting some dials. "That's strange," she muttered. "There's some kind of disturbance in Sector 7G. Her assistant Tom looked up from his computer. "What kind of disturbance?" "I'm not sure," Sarah replied. "But it looks like... Wait, is that a ship?" Suddenly, alarms began blaring. The computer screens filled with data as a small, badly damaged ship appeared in Earth's atmosphere. "It's going to crash," Tom shouted. They watched in amazement as the alien ship managed to slow its descent, crashing in a field not far from the observatory. Sarah grabbed her jacket. "Come on, we need to get there before anyone else does." As they drove towards the crash site, Sarah's mind raced. First contact with an alien species. It was the moment scientists had dreamed of for centuries. But something felt wrong. The ship was damaged, as if it had flowed from something terrible. They arrived at the field to find the ship smoking, but mostly intact. As they approached, a door opened with a hiss. A blue-skinned alien stumbled out, clearly injured. It looked at Sarah with eyes full of fear and desperation. "Please," it said in broken English. "Help us. The Council, they're killing everyone." Sarah's heart raced. She knew in that moment that everything was about to change. Humanity was about to be thrown into a conflict beyond anything they had ever imagined. And somewhere in the depths of space, Admiral Zix and the Galactic Council continued their path of destruction, unaware that their greatest challenge was about to rise from a small blue planet they had overlooked. The stage was set. Humanity's fury was about to be unleashed. The news of the alien crash spread like wildfire. Within hours, the field was swarming with government agents, scientists, and curious onlookers. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself at the center of it all, trying to protect the injured alien she had found. "Her name is Lyra," Sarah explained to General Mike Harrison, who had taken charge of the situation. "She's from a planet called Nexus IV, and she has a terrifying story to tell." In a secure facility, Lyra, now recovering from her injuries, told her tale. Her blue skin trembled as she spoke of the Galactic Council's attack. Humans listened in horror as they learned of entire worlds being destroyed for their resources. "But why come to Earth?" General Harrison asked, his face grim. Lyra's large eyes filled with tears. "We searched for a species that could help. Our data showed that humans are different. You're adaptable, creative. You don't give up." As Lyra's story spread, the world changed overnight. People looked at the stars with new eyes, now knowing they held both wonders and terrors. Governments argued about what to do, but for once, they all agreed on one thing: Earth needed to prepare. In New York, the United Nations called an emergency session. Leaders from every country gathered, their differences set aside in the face of this cosmic threat. "We must unite," the Secretary General declared, her voice echoing through the hall. "The Galactic Council believes they can slaughter innocents without consequences. We will prove them wrong." The resolution to form a united Earth Defense Force passed unanimously. For the first time in history, all of humanity stood as one. Meanwhile, in secret labs around the world, scientists worked tirelessly. They combined human innovation with the advanced knowledge Lyra brought with her. New weapons were forged, defenses were built, and spaceships began to take shape. In one such lab, Dr. Chen worked alongside Lyra, studying the alien technology. "This is incredible," Sarah muttered, examining a small device. "With this, we could revolutionize our energy production." Lyra nodded. "My people developed many things, but we never thought we'd need weapons." Her voice turned sad. "We trusted the Council to protect us. We were wrong." As Earth prepared, tension grew. Everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the Galactic Council discovered them. The question was, would they be ready? Months passed. The first human starships were completed, their crews trained and ready. Orbital defense platforms circled the Earth, powerful weapons pointed at the stars. Then, one quiet evening, alarms blared in every major city. On screens around the world, a grim-faced General Harrison appeared. "Citizens of Earth," he began, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "A Galactic Council scout ship has entered our solar system. They have discovered us." The world held its breath. In homes, in offices, in the streets, people huddled around screens, waiting to learn their fate. On the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Humanity's Hope, Captain Jane Rodriguez watched as the alien ship approached. Her crew, a mix of the best from every nation, stood ready. "Remember your training," Jane said, her voice calm. "Remember what we're fighting for." The alien ship, sleek and menacing, came to a stop just beyond Mars. A transmission crackled through the speakers. "Unidentified planet," a cold voice said. "This system is now under the control of the Galactic Council. Surrender and prepare for resource extraction." Captain Rodriguez took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's future. She pressed the transmit button. "Galactic Council," she replied, her voice strong and clear. "This is Captain Jane Rodriguez of Earth. We know what you've done. We know about Nexus IV and the other worlds you've destroyed. And we have a message for you." She paused, thinking of all the preparation, all the unity that had brought them to this point. Humanity will not surrender. We will not be your victims. If you want this planet, you'll have to go through us. And trust me, we're not going down without a fight. As the transmission ended, Jane looked at her crew. She saw determination in their eyes, a reflection of the spirit that had driven humanity to the stars. The Galactic Council had no idea what they were in for. Humanity's fury was about to be unleashed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council scout ship hovered silently in space, its crew shocked by Earth's defiant response. They had expected fear, surrender, or at best, primitive weapons. Instead, they faced a united planet ready for battle. On the scout ship's bridge, Commander Vex hissed in anger. How dare these primitives challenge us? He turned to his second-in-command. Prepare to attack. We'll show them the price of defiance. But as the scout ship moved forward, Earth's defense systems sprang to life. Satellites previously hidden behind a cloaking field suddenly appeared, their weapons locked on the alien vessel. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comms again. This is your only warning. Leave our system now, or we will open fire. Commander Vex sneered. You think your toys can harm us? We are the Galactic Council. We have destroyed worlds. He ordered his gunners to fire. A powerful energy beam shot towards Earth. But before it could reach the planet, it struck an invisible barrier. The beam scattered harmlessly into space. On Earth, in the main defense control room, Dr. Chen cheered. The shield works. Lyra, your designs are perfect. Lyra, standing beside her, allowed herself a small smile. Now it's time to show them what else we can do. In space, Captain Rodriguez gave the order. All ships, engage. Earth's fleet, hidden behind the moon, suddenly appeared. Dozens of sleek vessels, each a perfect blend of human ingenuity and alien technology, streaked towards the scout ship. The battle was short but intense. The scout ship, though powerful, was outnumbered. Earth's ships moved with unexpected speed and coordination, their weapons piercing the alien vessel's shields. Within minutes, the scout ship was crippled, floating dead in space. Captain Rodriguez opened a channel to the defeated vessel. Your ship is disabled. Surrender now. On the scout ship's bridge, Commander Vex couldn't believe what had happened. How had these humans defeated them so easily? With shaking hands, he accepted the surrender. As Earth's ships towed the defeated scout vessel back to the planet, celebrations erupted worldwide. Humanity had faced its first extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But in the high-security war room deep beneath the United Nations building, Earth's leaders knew this was just the beginning. General Harrison addressed the gathered officials. Ladies and gentlemen, we've won the first battle, but the war is far from over. That scout ship will be missed. The full might of the Galactic Council will come for us soon. The room was silent as the implications sank in. They had revealed their hand, shown the Council that Earth was not defenseless. Now they had to prepare for the real fight. Lyra spoke up, her voice soft but determined. There might be a way to buy us more time. All eyes turned to her. The Council doesn't know about me, about the knowledge I brought. If we can capture their communication systems, we might be able to delay their response. Dr. Chen nodded excitedly. Yes, we could send false reports, make them think the scout ship is still searching. It could give us weeks, maybe even months to prepare further. The plan was quickly approved. A team of Earth's best hackers, guided by Lyra's knowledge of Council systems, got to work. Meanwhile, factories around the world increased production. More ships were built, new weapons were developed. The moon was transformed into a fortress, armed with massive ion cannons. Mars became the site of Earth's first off-world colony, a fallback position if the worst should happen. In orbit, the captured scout ship was carefully studied. Every piece of technology was reverse-engineered, providing humanity with quantum leaps in scientific understanding. As weeks passed, Earth's deception held. False reports were sent to the Council, painting a picture of a primitive world not worth the Council's time. But everyone knew the truth couldn't be hidden forever. Sooner or later, the Council would discover what had happened. And when they did, they would come with everything they had. In every city, in every home, humans lived with a mix of fear and determination. They had tasted victory, but the real test was yet to come. On the Humanity's Hope, Captain Rodriguez looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Council was waiting. But Earth would be ready. They had to be. The fate of not just humanity, but all oppressed species in the galaxy depended on it. The stage was set for the greatest conflict in galactic history, and at its heart stood humanity, prepared to unleash its full fury against the tyranny of the stars. Months had passed since Earth's victory over the Galactic Council's scout ship. The planet buzzed with activity, its people united in preparation for the coming storm. But in the depths of space, that storm was already brewing. On the Galactic Council's massive headquarters ship, Admiral Zix stood before the Council leaders, his forearms clenched in anger. "The scout ship is long overdue," he growled. "Something is wrong. We must investigate immediately." The Council leader, a being of pure energy contained in a hovering orb, pulsed with disagreement. "You worry too much, Admiral. It's just a primitive world. What could possibly go wrong?" But Zix insisted, and finally, a small fleet was dispatched to Earth. As the ships entered hyperspace, Zix felt a sense of unease. Something wasn't right, and he was determined to find out what. Back on Earth, the early warning systems lit up like a Christmas tree. Dr. Chen burst into the war room, her face pale. "They're coming. A fleet of Council ships just entered the solar system." General Harrison immediately activated the global alert system. All around the world, sirens wailed. People rushed to shelters, while military personnel scrambled to their posts. This was the moment they had been preparing for. In orbit, Captain Rodriguez and her fleet took up defensive positions. The Humanity's Hope led the formation, its crew tense but ready. "Remember your training," Rodriguez said over the comms. "Remember what we're fighting for. Today we defend not just Earth, but all the innocent worlds that can't defend themselves." The Council fleet dropped out of hyperspace, their ships filling the sky above Earth. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, a transmission came through. Admiral Zix's face appeared on screens across Earth's fleet. His eyes widened in shock as he saw the human ships, far more advanced than he had expected. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. "How do you have this technology?" Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, her face stern. "We know what you've done, Admiral. We know about the worlds you've destroyed. Earth stands ready to fight, and we are not alone." As if on cue, a new fleet appeared behind the Council ships. Lyra gasped in amazement. "Those are ships from the Outer Rim worlds. But how?" Dr. Chen smiled. "We've been busy. While we prepared our defenses, we also sent messages to other worlds. Turns out, a lot of species are tired of living under the Council's tyranny. They just needed someone to take the first stand." Admiral Zix's face contorted with rage. "You dare to challenge the Galactic Council? We will crush you all." With that, the battle began. Space lit up with energy beams and explosions. Earth's ships, nimble and powerful, darted between the larger Council vessels. The Allied fleet attacked from behind, catching the Council in a deadly crossfire. On the surface, Earth's defenses roared to life. Massive ion cannons fired from the moon, striking Council ships with devastating accuracy. From Mars, a swarm of automated fighters joined the fray, overwhelming the Council's defenses with sheer numbers. The battle raged for hours. Council ships fell one by one, their outdated tactics no match for the combined forces of Earth and its allies. Admiral Zix watched in disbelief as his fleet was decimated. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They're just primitives." But it was the Council who had been primitive, relying on fear and brute force. They had never faced an enemy who fought with creativity, adaptability, and above all, the fierce determination to protect their home. As the last council ship fell, a cheer went up across the Earth fleet. Captain Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. "We did it," she breathed. "We actually did it." But the victory was bittersweet. Many lives had been lost, and the wreckage of countless ships floated silently in space. On Earth, people emerged from shelters, looking to the sky with a mixture of fear and hope. The threat had been defeated, but at what cost? And what would come next? In the war room, General Harrison addressed the world's leaders. "The battle is won, but the war is far from over. The Council will send more ships, more troops. We must be ready." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes shining with determination. "And we will be ready. Today, we have shown the galaxy that tyranny can be fought, that freedom is worth fighting for. The Council's days are numbered." As the sun set on this historic day, Earth stood tall, no longer a hidden backwater, but a beacon of hope for oppressed worlds across the galaxy. The fury of humanity had been unleashed, and the stars themselves trembled at its power. The news of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes celebrated the first real defeat of the Galactic Council in centuries. But on the Council's capital world, Centaurus Prime, panic gripped the ruling elite. In the Council's grand chamber, heated arguments echoed off the towering walls. Councillor Draz, a serpentine being with scales that shimmered like oil on water, hissed in frustration. "How could we let this happen?" he demanded. "A primitive world and a handful of outer rim rejects have made us look weak." The Supreme Councillor, a being of pure energy encased in a hovering metallic sphere, pulsed with angry red light. "Calm yourself, Draz. This setback changes nothing. We will crush this rebellion with overwhelming force." As the Council plotted their revenge, Earth and its allies worked tirelessly to prepare for the coming storm. The wreckage from the battle was salvaged, providing even more advanced technology to study and replicate. On the Moon, now transformed into humanity's primary military base, Dr. Chen and Lyra worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. "If we can crack the secret of their faster-than-light communications," Lyra said, her blue fingers dancing over a holographic display, "we could coordinate our forces across the entire galaxy." Dr. Chen nodded, her eyes bright with excitement. "And with that advantage, we might just have a chance against their full might." Meanwhile, on Mars, the first wave of human colonists worked to expand their base. Led by Colonel Aki Tanaka, they transformed the Red Planet into a fortress, bristling with weapons and protected by a shield even stronger than Earth's. Back on Earth, in the underwater city of New Atlantis, Captain Rodriguez addressed a gathering of fleet commanders from Earth and its alien allies. "The Council won't take this lying down," she said, her voice firm. "They'll come at us with everything they've got. We need to be ready to hit them before they hit us." A tall, insectoid alien named Sith clicked its mandibles in agreement. "My people have suffered under the Council's rule for generations. We stand ready to strike at their supply lines." Plans were made, strategies devised. The Allied fleet grew stronger every day as more worlds pledged their support to the cause of freedom. But the Council was not idle. On Centaurus Prime, they gathered the largest armada the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships, each capable of destroying an entire planet, assembled in orbit. Admiral Zix, demoted but not executed for his failure, watched the fleet with a mix of awe and dread. He knew the power of this armada, but he also knew the spirit of the humans and their allies. This would not be an easy fight. As the Council armada prepared to depart, a small, stealthy ship slipped away from Centaurus Prime. On board, a young Council aide named Vela clutched a data crystal to her chest. She had seen the corruption and cruelty of the Council up close, and she couldn't stand by any longer. "I have to warn them," she whispered to herself as her ship jumped to hyperspace. Earth needs to know what's coming. Days later, alarms blared across Earth's defense network. A small, unidentified ship had appeared just outside the moon's orbit. Before anyone could react, a transmission came through on all channels. "Please," a desperate voice called out. "I have critical information about the Council's plans. You must listen." In the war room beneath the United Nations building, General Harrison and the world's leaders listened in shock as Vela revealed the full extent of the Council's coming attack. "They're not just sending ships," she said, her voice trembling. "They've developed a weapon, a planet killer. They plan to make an example of Earth, to crush the spirit of rebellion once and for all." A heavy silence fell over the room. The stakes had just gotten even higher. Earth wasn't just fighting for freedom anymore. It was fighting for its very existence. General Harrison's face was grim as he turned to address the gathered leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen, we always knew this would be the fight of our lives. Now it's become the fight for all life as we know it." As the news spread, a steely determination settled over Earth and its allies. The Council thought they could break their spirit with this ultimate threat, but they had underestimated the power of beings fighting for their homes, their families, and their future. The final battle was coming, and this time, there would be no holding back. Humanity's fury was about to be unleashed like never before, with the fate of the entire galaxy hanging in the balance. The galaxy held its breath as the Council's massive armada approached Earth. Thousands of ships darkened the sky, their weapons primed and ready. At their center, a ship unlike any other loomed ominously, the Planet Killer. On Earth, final preparations were made. Cities were evacuated, with millions seeking shelter in underground bunkers. The moon base hummed with activity, its powerful ion cannons aimed at the stars. On Mars, Colonel Tanaka and her forces stood ready, a last line of defense if Earth should fall. In orbit, Captain Rodriguez surveyed her fleet. Ships from 100 worlds floated side by side, a testament to the alliance Earth had forged. On the bridge of humanity's hope, she took a deep breath. "All ships, report in," she commanded. One by one, the fleet captains confirmed their readiness. Humans fought alongside aliens, united against a common foe. Among them was Sith, the insectoid commander, his ship bristling with experimental weapons developed by Dr. Chen and Lyra. As the Council fleet entered the solar system, Admiral Zix's face appeared on screens across the Allied armada. "Rebels and traitors," he snarled, all four of his arms gesticulating wildly. "Surrender now, and we may show mercy. Resist, and we will turn your precious Earth into cosmic dust." Captain Rodriguez stood tall, her voice unwavering as she replied, "We will never surrender to tyranny, Admiral. The people of Earth and our allies have chosen freedom, and we will fight for it with our last breath." With those words, the greatest battle in galactic history began. The void of space lit up with laser fire and explosions. Earth's fleet moved with incredible coordination, their tactics unpredictable and effective. The Council ships, used to easy victories, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. On the moon, Dr. Chen and Lyra worked frantically, coordinating the defense grid. Massive ion beams lanced out from lunar cannons, cutting through Council ships like paper. "The shields are holding," Lyra reported, her blue fingers flying over the controls. "But that Planet Killer is still out there, charging its main weapon." Dr. Chen nodded grimly. "We need more time. Everything depends on our plan working." In the heart of the Council fleet, the Planet Killer slowly came to life. Its main cannon, capable of cracking a world in half, began to glow with ominous energy. Admiral Zix watched with savage glee. "Let them fight," he growled. "Soon, they'll see the price of defiance." But the Allies had an ace up their sleeve. As the battle raged, a small, stealthy ship slipped through the chaos. On board were Vela, the Council defector, and a team of Earth's best hackers. Their target, the Planet Killer itself. Using access codes provided by Vela, They infiltrated the massive ship's systems, but as they worked to disable the main weapon, they were discovered. Intruders on Deck 7. A council officer shouted. Alarms blared as security forces converged on the hackers' position. The team fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Just as all seemed lost, an explosion rocked the ship. Sith's vessel had broken through the defense screen, targeting the planet killer's weak points. Go! Sith's voice crackled over the comms. We'll hold them off. With renewed determination, the hackers raced to complete their mission. In engineering, they found the heart of the planet killer, a massive crystal pulsing with deadly energy. We can't shut it down, one of the hackers said, his face pale. The fail-safes are too strong. Vela stepped forward, her eyes shining with resolve. Then we'll overload it. It'll destroy the ship, but it'll save Earth. As council forces battered down the door, the team worked frantically. The crystal's glow intensified, energy building to catastrophic levels. It's done. Vela shouted. We need to go. Now. They ran for their ship as the planet killer began to shake itself apart. They barely made it out before the massive vessel exploded in a blinding flash of light. The explosion took out a significant portion of the Council fleet. Across the battlefield, cheers erupted from the Allied ships. But the battle was far from over. Admiral Zix, his flagship damaged but still fighting, roared in fury. Destroy them all, he commanded, no matter the cost. As the conflict entered its final, desperate phase, the fate of Earth and the galaxy hung in the balance. The fury of humanity had brought them this far, but would it be enough to win the day? The destruction of the planet killer had turned the tide of battle, but victory was still far from certain. Admiral Zix, driven mad with rage, ordered his remaining ships to fight to the last. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken vessels and shattered dreams. On the bridge of humanity's hope, Captain Rodriguez wiped blood from a cut on her forehead. Half her screens were dark, and the ship groaned with every maneuver. Status report, she called out, her voice hoarse from shouting orders. Her second-in-command, a young lieutenant named Patul, looked up from his console. Shields at 30%, Captain. We've lost a third of the fleet, but the Council has lost more. They're in disarray, but still fighting. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Then we pressed the advantage. All ships, focus fire on the enemy flagship. Across the battlefield, the Allied fleet rallied. Earth ships flew alongside alien vessels, their combined firepower overwhelming the Council's defenses. On the Moon, Dr. Chen and Lyra worked tirelessly, redirecting power to keep the planetary shields active. But the Council still had one last terrible weapon. On his flagship, Admiral Zix activated a hidden system. A wave of energy pulsed out, frying the electronics of nearby Allied ships. You see, Zix screamed, his eyes wild with madness. We are the Galactic Council. We cannot be defeated. Yet even as he spoke, a small ship slipped through his defenses. It was Sith, the insectoid commander, his vessel battered but still flying. With a silent prayer to his ancestors, Sith aimed his ship directly at the flagship's bridge. For freedom, he clicked, and rammed his ship into Zix's command center. The resulting explosion ripped through the Council flagship. Zix's final scream was cut short as his ship broke apart, taking the Admiral with it. A cheer went up across the Allied fleet. Without their leader, the remaining Council ships began to retreat or surrender. The battle for Earth was over. But the war was not yet won. As the dust settled, Captain Rodriguez called a meeting of all Allied commanders. In the war room of humanity's hope, battered and bruised heroes from 100 worlds gathered. We've won a great victory, Rodriguez began, her voice tired but proud. But the Council still controls much of the galaxy. Our fight must continue. Vela, the Council defector, stepped forward. I have information on Council strongholds across the galaxy. With coordinated strikes, we can liberate dozens of worlds. Plans were made, strategies devised. The Allied fleet, bolstered by captured council ships, prepared to take the fight to the enemy. On Earth, rebuilding began. The planet had been scared by the battle, but its spirit remained unbroken. In cities around the world, humans and aliens worked side by side, forging a new future. At the United Nations, now expanded to include representatives from allied worlds, General Harrison addressed the galaxy. "Today marks a new era," he said, his voice carried by faster-than-light transmissions to every corner of known space. "No longer will the Galactic Council rule through fear and oppression. Today, we extend a hand of friendship to all peaceful beings. Together, we will build a galaxy of freedom and justice for all." As Harrison spoke, Dr. Chen and Lyra watched from their lab on the moon. Their latest project, a device to detect and neutralize the Council's planet-killer technology, was nearing completion. "Do you think we'll ever have true peace?" Lyra asked, her large eyes reflecting the Earth hanging in the lunar sky. Dr. Chen smiled, putting a hand on her friend's shoulder. "I think we've taken the first step. It won't be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is." In orbit, the humanity's hope prepared for its next mission. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. So much had changed in so short a time. Earth, once a backwater planet, was now a beacon of hope for the galaxy. "Captain," Lieutenant Patel called out, "the fleet is assembled and awaiting your orders." Rodriguez nodded, a fierce determination in her eyes. "Set course for the Andromeda sector. There are worlds to liberate and a new future to build." As the Allied fleet jumped to hyperspace, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. The galaxy was entering a new age, one shaped by the indomitable spirit of humanity and its allies. The Galactic Council had sought to rule through fear and destruction, but they had learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the fury of those fighting for freedom. For in that fury, galaxies could be reshaped, tyranny overthrown, and a new era of peace and prosperity born. The story of humanity's stand against the Galactic Council would be told for generations to come, and as new challenges arose, the people of Earth and their allies would face them together, their resolve unshaken, their unity unbroken. The future, vast and unknown, awaited, and humanity was ready to meet it head-on.